He thought breaking her would leave her shattered. What he didn't know is that breaking her only set her free. Because when a good woman gets hurt, something unexpected happens. She doesn't fall apart. She doesn't beg. She doesn't chase. Instead, she reflects. She rises. And she rebuilds herself into a version even she never imagined. This is not just a story about heartbreak. It's about transformation. It's about the power a woman finds when she's forced to face the pain she never asked for. When a man wounds a good woman, it's rarely about her. It's about his inability to recognize the gift he was given. But in hurting her, he sparks something inside her. Something she may not have even known existed. Because when a good woman is hurt, she doesn't shatter. She doesn't fall apart. No, she transforms. And transformation isn't loud. It doesn't come with rage or revenge. It begins in silence, in reflection, in those long nights where she questions everything, her worth, her choices, her love. But here's the truth about a good woman. Those questions don't break her. They build her. They sharpen her spirit. Because at her core, she was never built on fragile foundations. She loved with honesty. She gave without keeping score. She stood by him even when he couldn't stand by himself. That kind of love, it's not weakness, it's strength in its purest form. But when that love is betrayed, what follows isn't chaos. It's clarity. She begins to see what she overlooked. The excuses she made. The times she stayed silent to keep a false peace. The sacrifices she made for someone who didn't know how to receive them. And instead of becoming bitter, she becomes wise. She doesn't harden her heart, she guards it, not with walls, but with discernment. She doesn't lash out, she levels up. And this is what most men fail to realize. They believe she'll always be there, that her compassion will outweigh her pain, that her loyalty will overlook their inconsistency. But there's a line, and once it's crossed, she doesn't go back. Not because she stopped loving him, but because she started loving herself. In her transformation, she pours her energy back into herself, into her dreams, into her growth. And while he believed he diminished her, what he did was awaken her. There's nothing more unsettling to a man who took her for granted than watching her become everything he was too blind to value. Not out of revenge, but out of resolve. And here's what stings the most. He never sees it coming. He thought she'd stay. He thought she'd wait, but she didn't. She outgrew the version of herself that tolerated being misunderstood. She stepped into a version that knows better, not heartless, but finally healed. That transformation, it's not for him to witness. It's hers, entirely, authentically. And while he may one day long for the woman who loved him unconditionally, she won't be there. Because now, she loves herself with the same intensity she once gave to him. And that's the real consequence of hurting a good woman. She doesn't just move on, she evolves beyond him. So remember this. When a good woman walks away, she doesn't just leave behind a relationship. She leaves behind the version of herself that's settled. And what did she step into? Is her power, her peace, and a love for herself that no one can take away again. Because the real loss isn't hers, it's his. He lost a woman who would have stood by him through anything. But now, she stands for herself. If this touched your heart, leave a comment below, share your thoughts, and never forget, your worth was never tied to someone else's ability to see it.